What is the most ducked up thing that happened in a children's TV show? Too many episodes of Hey Arnold. Like finding out Stoop Kid stayed on his stoop because he was abandoned there and was homeless, but hopelessly waiting for someone to come back for him. How Monkey Man was mentally ill and also homeless. That one where you learn Grandpa and his sister had a lifelong rift because the only good thing in their life as children, their puppy, got killed by a car in front of them, and they each blamed the other. How Lila and her dad ask squatters to keep from being homeless. How the kids on the show routinely get mugged. Or how Mr. Hyan hates Christmas because that's the anniversary of the day he handed his baby daughter off to an American soldier to get her out of the war zone because he wasn't sure they'd survive, then spent the rest of his life working to immigrate to America to try and find her, only having the name of the city to work from, and ended up missing her whole childhood because he was too poor to hire a private investigator, until Helga literally sold the shoes off her feet to hire one to make Arnold happy. Oh, and how Helga is obsessed with Arnold because she grew up neglected by an alcoholic mother and aggressive narcissistic father who only cared about her older sister, and Arnold was literally the first person in her entire life to show her any kindness when, as a preschooler, he offered to share his umbrella because her parents forgot to take her to her first day of preschool and she had to walk in the rain by herself with no coat as a 4-year-old in what we can only assume is New York City. So yeah, that show was supremely jacked up. Plus Arnold's grandma knew karate, which is pretty cool. Watching it again as an adult, Pookie is the best character on the show. I remember that episode of the Magic School Bus when that ginger dude took off his helmet in space after being told not to and his dome turned to ice or something like that. Spooked me as a kid. Invaders In was ducked too. I had a love/hate relationship with that show as a kid. It freaked me out, but I still watched it. That episode where he harvests all the other kids' organs into his own body to pass off as more human was particularly disturbing. I watched an interview with a writer who talked about how in the second episode, there was a stalker child who got a present that ripped out his eyes, replaced them with robot eyes, and then he got killed by a squirrel, and he said he had his stuff packed and ready to get the notice of them being cancelled, but they continued on for 2 seasons. May I imagine the writer thinking, how far can I take this before it gets cancelled? There was an episode where SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs murder the health inspector. The whole episode is them trying to hide and dispose of the body. We've been smakeldorfed. That's not even a word, and I agree with you. He turns out to be okay at the end. In Tom and Jerry, Tom attempted to hang himself. Tom looked seriously depressed through many episodes. Tom was seen popping bottles of pills. Tom lied down on a railroad waiting for a train to come before Jerry joined him. The episode cut to black and was never talked about again. Tom had a gun to his head at some point. That one new episode of Peppa Pig where they went to a zoo. A zoo. They are already animals and they went to a zoo. I did watch the episode, but it was kind of unexpected to see the animals in that episode. And the zookeeper, who is a fucking lion, keeps calling Madame Gazelle other animals, and at one point her, the zookeeper, and another keeper who is a crocodile are all behind shrubbery and they talk about wanting food. There's some serious "we would totally eat you, but they're children" present vibes going on. Cartoon Network's Total Drama Action first series, they showed blurred images of breasts and talked about breasts. There was a very special anti-drug episode of the 80s cartoon Brave Stare. In this episode, a couple of kids get hooked on a new drug. At the end of the episode, one of the kids died from an overdose 30 plus years later, and I'm not sure how many children's shows even today would kill a kid. Captain Planet did the same thing. A drug called Bliss that makes the user happy and all their problems go away, but also makes them reckless and not fear injury or death, and is extremely addictive. Linka's cousin gets addicted and then manages to get her hooked, but she quits after he dies of an overdose. Megatron executing Ironhide by shooting him in the head point blank as he crawled along the floor in Transformers the movie in 1986. Eater, thanks for the silver award and 1k likes. The Looney Tunes, where the bulldog, I think his name is Caesar or Romeo, anyway, he wants to keep a kitten, his owner is already mad, so he tried to hide kitten, stuff happens, and he ends up believing the kitten was baked into cookies, and the owner gives him a cat-shaped cookie and has crying puddles of tears and grabs the cookie pretending it's the kitty, completely traumatized. Happy ending though. I remember that episode well. It nuzzled a little bed onto his fur. 10 of 10 made up for the realistic trauma. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Share it with your friends so they can enjoy too. Thanks for watching. But before you go, one joke. One day a chicken met James Bond in a forest. The chicken asks who you are, and James Bond replies, Bond. James Bond, and who are you? Ken. Chicken. Ha ha ha.